Welcome, everyone. Dr. Thor here. Get ready for Christ consciousness. Now, one of the things people used to bring up in the past, do you have to believe in something for it to work? And what they're insinuating is that it doesn't really work. The technology isn't there, but you have to believe in the technology to make it work. Well, I'm not really sure what that means. If you're going to go into something with a negative point of view, well, of course, it's not going to work very well, especially when you get into the areas where they're energetically involved. Now, energetically involved things need your belief system in place. Now, I think there's a level of this. Now, I've always been against positive thinking in the way that it is often taught to people. And many positive thinking gurus talk about being 100% involved in it, believing it to the ends of the earth, burning all your bridges, etc., because this is what it takes to manifest something with positive thinking. And I've seen these people crash and burn all the time, and I think it sets you up for some very horrible defeats. You certainly want to be positive and you want to be motivated to make sure something works. If you just try something quickly and give up on it, well, that's not really an effective way of doing anything. Now, if it's a particular tool that is supposed to do something directly, well, that, of course, is a different case altogether. So we need to fully understand that. To understand how things work, especially when you get past something that's so crudely based as this tool is supposed to do that. Well, you also have to have some skill to use that tool depending on what it is. So you can't say a tool doesn't work well for you if you're not familiar with it, even if it is a tool. So we need to fully understand the way to do that. Now, one of the most important things when you're dealing with any kind of biophysical empowerment, anything that has to do with the consciousness, often crudely called psychic power, is you have to go into it with a very positive message. My training system, which I've honed over the last 40 to 50 years, is very simple and it works. Anything else out there is kind of crude and backwards and old, and that's how most things are. So when you have technologies that are kind of old and everybody jumps on the boat with them, and this is how things have been done, the positive thinkers, the rich and grow, the think and grow rich people. Well, I mean, there's a core of good here, but carried to the level that they have and not using modern tools to empower yourself is where most people fail. We're in a whole new time with all new technologies to empower your manifesting, and you really have to get involved with that and use it. There's lots of new techniques, and while old visualization is okay, and it's basically grade school, and the same thing with positive thinking, all of this is okay at a certain level. If you take it to the extent that they set you up for, you're going to run into problems, and it's really like falling off of the top of a mountain. Positive thinking by itself does little. Now, it's supposed to be motivating. You're supposed to be psyched up, so you're looking for answers and applying yourself. But it's more than that. These types of teachings that have been out there from many people just don't work in the long run. It takes an awful lot more than just focusing positive thoughts on something you want to manifest. There is a whole laws of manifesting in terms of what you have to do. What, as I outline in the book, what can I manifest? This is a very easy, simplistic guide, but it's the way it is out there. You also have to understand that there is the hang-on principle. If you're putting out energies and they're coming back to you, well, what are those energies going to hang on? Meaning, if it's money, how are you going to bring them to you? All of these things are part and parcel of understanding the basic realities out there. So if you are going to be constantly shooting yourself up to the stars, well, there's only one place to go when you're that high, and that's straight down. So it's obviously good to be positive. You approach things with, and the reason you approach and do things is because you have thought about that it can work, and you have done what it takes to work, and now you want to energize it with positive thinking, visualization, etc. But visualization and positive thinking are kindergarten, and they're very low unless you're doing the right type of techniques. And that means you have to train your visualization of how to do it. And, the unfortunate part is people think that they just do this psychically, that they're not working on how to pop visions in their head, how to focus on items and clearly see them. Now, my kit I have designed on visualization does that. It's the best investment you can ever get into. It's something you should be using daily. The way to teaches you how to visualize clearly, how to sense things, sense colors, sense energies. So many things it teaches you how to do, and this is all part of the manifesting reality. Thinking something is not good enough. If you're not amplifying your thought forms by using some very basically low-cost technology that you use for the rest of your life, well, you're just out of step with everything. You're either cheap or ignorant. You need to get out there and get the necessary tools to do your job right. And that goes with any job. If you're going to be a carpenter, well, you better have the right hammers and saws so you can do your job right. If you get a good job and you can't do it right because you have inferior tools, well, you have already set yourself up for failure. And any amount of positive thinking is not going to do anything for you. Positive thinking made you delusional. So it's the same thing with visualization. It's not just visualize doing the job. That visualization requires you to have all the correct tools. And the first tool you need in life is a manifesting machine or some sort of manifesting technology beyond you sitting there clearly visualizing. You do not have enough bioenergy to manifest much at all. Plain and simple. You need more energy, building your core energies, and you don't really even have the concentration to visualize well. Well, do you know how to center yourself? Have you been working in the occult gym to build your muscles? Well, the bottom line is that you have not, and you're going to put out weak realities by doing that. And it means your manifestations are going to be very slow and most likely won't manifest at all. And manifesting is, and of course my teaching system is very simple. First of all, anything that you do, you approach it at high energy levels with high enthusiasm. So that's a form of positive thinking to a degree, but it's a little more than that. If you want to be energetic, you have to be energetic, meaning when you're doing any kind of practices using my tools, you have to feel good. You have to feel energized. You're not tired. You're not sleepy. You're not negative. You're not drunk. You are psyched. You're psyched. I'm ready to go. So that's how you have to approach everything when you're using these tools. Now, the next thing you have to do is to use whatever tool it is for short periods of time with this high intensity. So you don't want to do things long periods of time. This is another fallacy that's been out there since the beginning of time of that, it's always better if you meditate longer. Well, why is that? It's always better if you put more time into it, and the longer you do it, the better it is. Well, I don't find any of that to work, and that's another fallacy out there, and one of the reasons that people fail. They're too busy positive thinking for hours and doing, low-level bad visualization. All of these things don't work very well. So if you do things at high enthusiasm, and you do them for short periods of time. And this could really be a few seconds. You got to remember that your psychic powers burn out within a few minutes. So your biophysical is gone. Usually after 3 minutes, it's completely drained. And what you have to do is to understand the fact that this is bad for you. And what happens is that as soon as you get into even a small level of fatigue, your toxic mind comes in and messes you up. Plain and simple. That toxic mind starts to feed you bad information, clouding your visualizations, etc. So you don't want any of that. You want a high energy projecting out a perfect thought form or a perfect energy tool that you're using, and this usually happens in at the very most a minute or two. Generally, most things I recommend people do is for 5 to 6 seconds, and that's pretty long when you're talking about psychic energy or biophysical energy. And the the actual target you're sending that energy to is instantaneously affected by it. Longer does not do anything. What you're doing is sending good energy, and then you're sending bad energy after it because your conscious mind has come in and says, well, this is silly and stupid, don't do it. The other key, which is a way of constantly bombarding something, constantly putting out there, is you repeat these things often. Now, since you're only doing something for virtually a few seconds, it means if you really had a need, you could do this several times an hour. And you should be able, at that short period of time, do it at a high intensity and not be in a negative mood. Can't you stay positive for a few seconds? I hope so. So the whole idea is you do it someplace, you're very positive about it. Negativity comes and disappointment comes from expectations, and expectations usually happen over time. So if you're expecting something to manifest and you're spending all this energy to it, the bottom line, if you have any problems, it's going to make you feel worse. But you also have to remember that, life is complicated. There's lots of blockages. There's lots of problems out there. All of these things you need to work through. Most likely you're pretty highly crossed and you need to uncross yourself. And that means cross means you have lots of blockages. So when you try and manifest, you're going to hit head on to those things. And this is what's going to slow down and oftentimes stop people from manifesting. You've got these huge amounts of negative energy around you. So it's attracting bad things to you. You have to stop that negative energy and replace it with positive energy, where you kind of form a magnet. You kind of create a vortex around you to draw to you the proper things. So this is all part of the bigger picture that is going on there that you have to understand. So do things at high enthusiasm, do it for short periods of time, literally seconds, and do it often. This is how it all works. And what you put together there is a very positive energy. Now, positive thinking, again, sets you up for big falls. And everybody who's preached that goes into very high extremes. I remember a guru I followed many years ago in Los Angeles, Terry Cole Whitaker, who preached all this kind of stuff. And, of course, had all sorts of problems, and the organization didn't work well. And they had great success because they were the happy ministers, and they preached success and, the prosperity ministries that tend to do so good. And I fell into that particular time. But, this positive thinking stuff and this, what is Ogmandino, Think and Grow Rich. Who else is out there? There's so many of these people out there that are telling you to do this. And of course, I don't know why you need to be told to do that. I mean, you've got to go into things with a positive enthusiasm. This is going to help move things. But you have to also put a lot of energy and clarity into your thought forms, and they must be manifested through technology. If you're not using some sort of amplifying tool, which is either one of our energy cells, one of our machines, and so many of the tools that we offer, they're all manifesting tools. And what do? They amplify a particular type of energy. If you're not doing that, you don't have the edge to be successful. You're pretty naive to think that you're going to go out and buy one of these books that were written almost 100 years ago. A lot of these were written in the 20s. I believe Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich was the 1920s or 30s. 100 years ago. And he's an interesting story himself, who failed horribly and then made money. It's kind of a wild story. But the bottom line is that you need more than that. And back in the 1920s, they didn't have amplifying machines. They didn't have a manifesting machine technology. We have it now. And everybody should be using this on lesser to greater levels. But it's something that you should be investing in your life. If you have a cell phone and a personal computer, where's your manifesting machine? This is the next level of technology. Why aren't you pouring your energies into something that will amplify it, send it out to the stratosphere, to your energy fields that are all around you, to all the people that you come in contact with, to influence them, for them to see you as you are, as that good person that's going to help them and you. Well, you can't do that with base level bioenergetic only. So it doesn't work that way. There's just too many blockages now. Maybe things are a little better in the 20s or 30s, but I don't really know. But they certainly, we have now come to a point where we have technologies that are manifesting machines. And they work very well in every single area of your life. Don't get stuck in just the physical, I need money, I need relationships. Well, there's so many things you can work on. A lot of people have problems. Maybe you need courage. Maybe you need to understand things better. Maybe you need to pass tests. Maybe you need to do better in school. Maybe you need to understand things better. I mean, this is what this kind of technology can do. And you put those energies out there so that they can be swirl around you like a vortex, drawing in all of this to help you, and also triggering your bioenergies to assist in those areas. But, mostly you're just a channel. You've got to bring all this stuff in. Almost every great artist or anything else out there who's been a master at something has always got divine inspiration, meaning something has told them this. Why? Because they're naturally created a vortex for that information around them. You do that by studying something all the time because you're immersed in it. You're in this constant energetic field. You're an architect. What do you do all day? You work with architecture. What's happening? You're creating a vortex around you to get that kind of information. So inspiration should come to you that way. And these technologies will do it. Also, it'll bring you the other things to make those inspirations. If you're an architect and you want to attract the right people to buy your plans, to build houses, whatever it may be that you're doing, you need to, again, energize that. It's not good enough to write business proposals. It's not good enough to know the right people. All of this is part of the bigger picture. What you need is a manifesting technology that brings a vortex of that particular energy around you, no matter what it is. Inspiration, well-being, high states of consciousness and spirituality. I mean, it's all there, and you have to bring those energies to you. That's what the next level technology and science is all about. All the old stuff we have to get. We have to understand, and we already buy into this with these kind of low-level understanding of it. Visualization, most people believe in that. The secret. Oh, well, it's not much of a secret. It goes back thousands of years. It may be a secret to you, but each generation apparently doesn't understand these things, and they have to go through it. And what they usually do is use the same old text. And while these foundation texts are okay, they're a beginning step, ultimately they don't produce a high level of success because you're not doing things to empower that. You don't have a manifesting machine, and that's what you need. And there's many types of these to offer. Of course, radionic tech has always been cutting edge. We've always had the best out there. We've researched ancient technologies going back thousands and thousands of years. We've looked into what are more modern technologies and what they've done. And of course, we're looking at the future now. What is the next step in technology? Well, we have all the little toys to make things, the computers, which will help you make plans and schematics, and we understand electrical appliances pretty well. And we really, when we come to science, in terms of regular making and building things, well, we're not too bad at that. I mean, most of that is pretty good, even though we're still stuck in the electromagnetic spectrum, but they work. And electricity makes things happen. It runs toasters and fans and air conditionings and stoves. So the whole idea is we have this down, and we're learning how to make things more and more efficient so they don't use huge amounts of electricity and waste things. Refrigerators, etc. And so many other things that we have now come up. We've taken some base technologies, and because of our new internet reality where people are connected and information changes, we're able to now take these primitive tools and make them to a high level. But let's remember, it doesn't matter how big a refrigerator is or how little energy it uses, it's still a refrigerator. It's not a new technology. A computer is still a computer. Doesn't matter how fast it is, and we've kind of reached the level of that at this particular point. It still does that. It's a giant filing cabinet. It's used to access things. And we still have lots of problems with computer speeds and how they work and everything else because technology hasn't caught up with it. I should say infrastructure. It's hard to get fast internet in most places of the world. Some places, it's pathetically slow. So we all need to understand that as the bigger picture as well. So it's not new technology. A fast internet line is not new technology. Oh, look at how fast we are. Yeah, we had internet lines. Now it's faster. Yeah, that's good. But that's not a new technology. Neither are computers, TVs, monitors, whatever you want to look at there. There is really no new technology. They are an upgrade of an already established idea. Your smartphone is nothing more than a phone. Now, everything's on there, and you can see little pictures because instead of just transmitting voice, now they transmit pictures. But it's really nothing new. You're just taking the same technology and using it in that fashion. And of course, it's a mini computer to access things. And again, that isn't any different. Reading books online has been around for 40 years. A video on the web or the internet has been around since the internet's been there. And of course, with speeds and lots of people getting involved, we are now able to see it better and faster, etc. But it's not new. What is new? What is the new technologies coming out there? Well, the new technology is consciousness-based technology. It is actually a machine that's going to empower whatever you do in life. It's going to bring you inspiration. It's going to guide you by opening up your thoughts. It's going to assist you on very high levels, no matter what it may be. Can't understand something? Well, put out that energy to say, gee, I want to understand calculus. I want to understand higher ways of thinking and spiritual states. I want to experience those things. I want to increase well-being energies and energetic fields. So this is all part of the process. And this is the next level of technology. Quite frankly, phones and computers are pretty boring technology, and they really haven't gone anywhere. They're not doing anything that couldn't have been done before. It's nice to have your phone book on the net so you don't have to carry around a 2-inch little book that's heavy and so forth, but it's still doing the same thing, and there are some benefits to certain physical things, to hunt through books, find names, and of course restaurants and other things that you used to do by carrying the yellow pages with you when you went to different areas. Now you don't have to do that. But to a certain extent, you're missing things as well. But it is certainly convenient. It's nice to have a phone that you can carry on your hip, and instead of having to find pay phones, remember those things, or having to deal from your home. So it always was a luxury. But wireless phones are not new either. They've been around probably 75 years. People remember the car phones that the super rich had that were super expensive. So it's not necessarily new. Now it's just, again, it's the same technology made less expensive and does a little bit more. So don't get caught up to think that that's technology. So as I said, a big refrigerator that uses less electricity is not a breakthrough. It is a same technology that has just been made better. Now, as I've mentioned, the new technology is manifesting machines, basically Psion generators. So Psion generators are the highest state of technology ever developed to this day. I've done the research over the last 50 years, and we know exactly how all of this works, plain and simple. So the whole idea is that you have to get involved with and understand this new technology and be one of the first people in it. If you're one of the first people using this new Psion technology, you're going to be the ones that are going to be successful. And this has been the case with people using radionic technology for years. I mean, everybody that uses this technology does much better. I get nothing but good reports from people. They're always getting additional breakthroughs. Things are coming to them. All the things that happen that you want to happen when you stimulate those thoughts and you start sending out energies to affect other energetic informational fields, not only your own, well, all sorts of things happen. But of course, the basic understanding when it comes to things is to surround yourself with these energies so that you draw in everything you need. You draw in all the people, the opportunities, the breaks, because that's what life is about. It's not manifesting some nonsensical and really childish understanding that there's some sort of magic lamp out there. and that you're going to rub this magic lamp and something's going to pop up in front of you. Well, that certainly would be a wonderful technology, and it would make the entire planet into a chaotic hell, worse than, of course, than it is even today. So the whole idea is that you do have a manifesting machine, and the closest thing to a manifesting Aladdin's lamp is a Psion generator, because you're going to create those energies around you. And logically, how would they come to you? Now, the comic book way of thinking is popping up in front of you, but, everything comes to you based in your life. It's going to have to come through some particular channel, and that's all part of understanding what can you manifest and how do you do it. So, what can you personally manifest? What do you have set up for things to come to you? So this becomes a real problem because people don't necessarily have ways of things coming to them. So how's it going to come to you? Well, it's going to pop up in front of you. And what people tend to happen is they say, well, the only way things can really come to me if I win the lotto. And this is just something that is extremely difficult to manifest. Certainly you can't do that with a Psion generator. There are all sorts of problems with doing that. But, I've known people to get many of the numbers, but winning the lotto, anybody who can do that with any technology certainly shouldn't share it. Again, then there would be no lotteries, wouldn't there? If everybody can win the lottery, then there would be no lottery. So you can see the problem there. And there is an actual built into this reality that you cannot produce machines that do things that totally upset the reality of that people can just manifest. The masses will manifest. The masses can time travel. All this stuff is nonsense. It's just not going to happen, and certainly would make a horrific reality to live in. And that's really not what you need. As I said, that's kind of a childish comic book way of thinking about things. What you need is to bring to you opportunities and that you desire that will fulfill what you want. A better job, better connections, making more money in the stock market. Whatever it is that you are seeking, meeting more people that help you in your particular interest or goals in life. That's what life is all about. And that's how life works. Now, life doesn't work like that normally. You have to use empowerment. You have to use technology to create a huge field of attraction to you and affecting others that you are seeking to affect. That's what it takes. Now, some people have this naturally, some people have connections, some people just seem to do this. And what's odd about things is that your richest men in the world are some of the stupidest men in the world. It's just shocking how ignorant the richest people on the planet are. People like Bill Gates, who thinks he's a doctor and wants to work in the medical field, that thinks that the internet is going to be a total bust. I mean, he stated this in interviews, and it's on YouTube to find that interview. I mean, he's not very bright. His answers are vaccinations. There's no new technology, so he's going to use old technologies. He's supporting nuclear power. This guy is a boob. Or maybe Mr. Electric Car, man, we make electric cars. They're 150 years old, but mine cost, $300,000. Yeah, that's the difference. It's a price tag. And I make flamethrowers, and I'm going to play with rockets. I mean, this guy is a boob. This guy has no intelligence whatsoever. He was pushed into his position in some bizarre way, mostly because he's quite a strange person. I don't quite get it at all. I mean, this is a guy who built a website and got paid hundreds of millions of dollars. And why? So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that, the three people have been assigned to building rockets were a book dealer, a website designer, and a record dealer. It's ridiculous. Bringing me to Branson, who is claims to be so dyslexic that he doesn't know the difference. And he stated this in an interview. He doesn't know the difference between a debit and a credit, yet he's a billionaire. So, why? These people have energies around them that brought people that know something and do something to them. A prime example of this is Steve Jobs. Now, Steve Jobs really was a dummy. He knew nothing. He had no background. All he could do was walk around and say, I'm going to make the curtains look pretty. You build the house and the floors and the rugs and the chairs. Yeah, the curtains. I'll do the curtains. He had no technical background whatsoever. They claimed he knew something about aesthetics, and of course Apple products tend to be a little more attractive than other ones. I'm not sure there was great breakthrough, but I think they're the first ones to make a computer in a different color, etc., and there were certain designs that were a little better than others. But the bottom line is that he brought people like Wozniak to him that actually made the stuff. Sitting around picking the fabrics of the new dressy computer is really not the greatest achievement. And certainly didn't have any other skills. He just graduated high school. He had no management background. He knew nothing. He knew nothing about management or anything else. And to cover that up, he was a real nasty guy. He was a big, nasty guy. And that's how he managed. And he made sure that if you challenged him in any way, that he would get rid of you and attack you. That was his philosophy. I mean, his college years was spent in India taking drugs. That's what he did. And no education at all. The guy who built Apple, at least technologically, was Wozniak, who put the computers together. And what's even further ironic is that Intel hired Steve Jobs, who had no background whatsoever, no education, to design circuits. I mean, that's how fraudulent the world of technology is. Of course, I'm sure you couldn't do that today, but at the beginning, they thought he knew something. And of course, that's what Jobs was good at. The BS, baby. The big BS. So the whole idea is that these are the lowest type of people out there. Why did they make it? Well, they made it because they draw. So Steve Jobs drew to him, and I don't know if he used special little mantras or other things. He did spend time in India and connecting to gurus, so I don't know if there was some spiritual energy there or not, but he was able to naturally create energy around him to bring the people he needed, his whole little crew that built things in his garage, particularly Wozniak. But there were several other people there as well that were the founders of Apple and who got quite wealthy. But it had nothing to do with him. It had to do with a whole bunch of people. And then these people took his company and made it into the giant that it was. So there really was nothing there. He bought Pixar as well from the producer of, who was it, Star Wars? I forget his name right now. But the whole idea is that company was running. He walked in there and did the same old goofball trick and took a going good concept, which he didn't have time to develop, yet he did. He ruled the same way with an iron fist and bringing in slaves to work for him because he was the big guru. So this is the reality out there. So why are these people successful when they basically are some of the worst people out there? And a lot of these people have terrible personalities on top of it. So it's hard to believe how they're even able to get along with people. So the bottom line is they had this energy. So people approached them. People thought, hey, this guy is doing something interesting. I want to join his team. Now, this is a rare thing, and of course that's why there's only a few people that have ever reached these kind of heights. Now, there's lots of other people that have and can by using manifesting machines. They manifest what you desire by putting energy into them and amplifying these past the very weak biophysical. You ought to remember that as a chemical battery that you are, you're not putting out much. You have to draw energy from other sources, channel it through you, and then channel it back out. Now, this tends to be very difficult and time-consuming to do, and the best way is to use proven manifesting amplifying power. Amplify what you put out, make it 100 times stronger than normal, and do this on a consistent basis. Do it easily and quickly, and all of that will be something that will be amazing to everyone. So, you will see how your life changes around. But one of the problems is that you have to also understand manifesting. So you have to be able to get to high levels. Nothing is going to do things for you like a magic lamp. I've had, if you're 350 pounds, well, it's going to take a lot of work. Yes, this technology will assist you. You're not going to sit there and continue to live a bad lifestyle, never move, and be able to just use a machine and help you take care of it. I'm afraid you have to do all the regular things in life, and the process will go better and faster, and you will get more opportunities. Maybe you'll meet a special doctor that has a particular treatment that you never would before. All of these things are part and parcel of the process. But there is no Aladdin's lamp, and everybody needs to understand. You're not going to rub anything and just pop up in front of you. As I said, this would make a chaotic world. This technology doesn't exist and never will. There are protective elements that stop that, but if you are a strong psychic. Now, there has been remote viewers who have actually seen the lotto numbers, particularly in some Texas, that lottery that was happening. And this has been documented online. So they saw the numbers in a lottery, not one of the big ones, but big enough, and they were able to win the lottery. Now, the point is, if you're able to have strong psychic powers to begin with, you can have 10 times that amount of psychic power by using an amplifying tool. And only a fool doesn't use tools to help them. You could dig a hole with your fingers. Do you want to do that? You want to walk to the store instead of getting your nice comfortable car and turn the air conditioning on? All of this is an ignoramus way of thinking things. It's also very ignorant to think that there isn't some sort of technology that could help you in this. That's because they're used to dead, stupid, old technology. That refrigerator again, which may be bigger, may be more cost efficient, may be more insulated, it's still a refrigerator. So you're still stuck in the refrigerator reality and just want to make the same old failure technology. The same nonsense, the same base level kindergarten products, and you just want to improve upon them with fancier doors and less costs. Well, that is where everybody's stuck. The next level is the manifesting level. That's the next science we need. We need to move into science that helps us materialize the state we want to be, whether that's a state of high health, whether that's a state of high education, high spirituality, high manifesting, charismatic with meeting people. That's what we need. That's the new technology out there. Everything else is really below it and just a primitive tool that you're using that only does things to a certain way. It's never improved and it's never going to get any different. The technologies that we have built, from the phones to refrigerators to toasters, are the exact same technology they were when they were first introduced 50, 60 years ago, or whenever that particular product was. There's no different. Prettier cabinets, nicer colors, better switches. Yawn. It's still the same old thing. You open it up, it's the same technology. There's no difference to it whatsoever. So now's the time for everybody to get into the next level of technology, and that's the biophysical technologies that assist you in your non-physical life. Well, I hope that's helped. Until next time.